Admiral's log. 15 months of relentless conflict have culminated in the surrender of the German forces. The war, brutal and unforgiving, tested the limits of our fleet. Yet despite the formidable power of the German Navy, it is Spain that stands victorious. Their ships, once seen as invincible, now lie defeated, and with their capitulation, peace has once again returned to our shores. Our sailors can at last lay down their arms and savor the hard-earned quiet of a world momentarily at rest. But even as we celebrate this triumph, the question lingers. How long will this peace endure? The world is a volatile place, and the forces that drive nations to war do not simply vanish with the signing of treaties. Spain has proven its strength, but with that strength comes the ever-present possibility of new challenges on the horizon. For now, we will rebuild, reinforce, and prepare, knowing that peace is a fleeting gift. The future is uncertain, but our resolve is not. We stand ready to defend our nation, and to face whatever trials may come, confident in the knowledge that we've emerged victorious from every battle thus far. Hey guys, Stealth here, welcome to episode 18. Unfortunately, the invasion of Germany did not go through, but the peace treaty did. The Germans have suffered quite a lot. They were, well, let's say relieved of a couple of their battle cruisers. And this means that I can claim $1.6 billion worth of, well, ships, territories, or just money. It's been a quick war, 15 months, but it's probably not going to be the last round against the Germans. Regarding the ships that they have, I'm actually quite interested in just grabbing one of their battle cruisers. If they have any of those big ones left, that is. Yeah, here we go. Prince Adalbert. As for territories, get Heligoland off of their coast. That would be a bit of an insult. I would definitely be interested in taking some territory, like northern and southern Rhodesia, because this way I'm slowly but steadily expanding my influence in Africa and building my economy. Just taking money is not going to work, simply because I don't really have a good economy. So my money would just go right down the drain into research and potentially building a better navy, but they would just keep building out these territories and increase their income. So I'm not going to be getting a whole lot of territory, I'm not going to be getting a whole lot of ships, but I'm going to be getting at least a bit of everything. Now, let's have a look. Where does this leave us? Because this means that I just got northern and southern Rhodesia. They're not going to really make that much a dent in the economy. But every bit, especially when you're playing Spain, is profitable. Because we're now at 56 billion. China is slightly bigger. Russia is definitely smaller. I'm kind of waiting for Russia to just tear itself apart. Because by the looks of it, it doesn't need a whole lot more to do that. Now, regarding that new ship. I want to see exactly what I got. Because I have fought a couple of these things. And they just went pop. The moment that you shoot their turrets, they just go pop. It's flash fire time. So I'm really hoping that I can still refit this ship and make it actually feasible, because the rate at which the Germans decided to have flash fires was about, I think, 2 out of 4 ships per battle. So I'm expecting some fairly serious flash fire chances. 26%. So yeah, that lines up. These guys are sporting 15-inch guns. That's pretty nice firepower. And they're 45,000 tons. That's definitely more than I can build. The game is also protesting. Cannot build hull. I don't have it researched yet. So, let's say borrowing or stealing your way to better battleships, battle cruisers like this, I think is perfectly fine. Now, let's free up some displacement, because this is going to make it quite a bit more feasible. Regarding all these 15s... I think 8 guns is enough. I also don't like the proximity of these guns, because this makes them very difficult to use. As for their armor, I have researched Krupp 2, so I can use that. They have a Citadel 3. And in order to mitigate that flashfire chance, I'm going to go right back to TNT, because this 26% chance is unacceptable. Cordite, we're going to push into 2 powder, and now we're at 2%. So I could arguably keep this, but we're first going to have to deal quite a lot of improvements to their armor, and that's probably going to take up a lot of tonnage. Let's say 11 inch there, and then maybe 5, 5. I know that I'm over, but I'm going to have a look at that. Just reduce the displacement, increase the bulkheads. There we go. Regarding the guns, I think the position of these 4-inch guns is awful, so I'm going to remove those. We have 8-inch guns, casemates. Not a bad gun, and you can definitely armor those up, so I might keep those around. As for engine efficiency, that is pretty awful. Surprisingly so, because they got a gross funnel. I can upgrade that to a gross funnel 6. Maybe boosting their engine efficiency, but only marginally. And that is with forced boilers, right? So with this level of speed, maybe the ship is going to be a bit more feasible doing 28 knots. Because that gives you slightly better engine efficiency, giving you essentially better range, and also giving you some slightly better acceleration in-game. As for these turrets, these 1.7s, I think they're shit, so we're going to take those right off. They got 4.4s, short-range guns, short-barrel guns. I think the 4-inch guns themselves are fine, but they don't need to be 4.4s. I do want them to have longer ranges. As for the 15s, yeah, they're sawn-off barrels. They're minus 11. Gives them better reload, to be sure. Yet, they suffer in accuracy and range. That's a bit of a problem. I am interested in keeping these guys at range. I think that would work, especially because I don't really have any kind of deck armor yet. So what I'm going to do is remove a turret, freeing up a bit of displacement for the rest of the ship. This whole thing is not necessarily bad, but I do want it slightly farther back. We're going to put a secondary 4-inch on there, I think. 6-inch Mark III is no joke. 8-inch triple. The thing with these German ships is that you don't get that much flexibility with them, and it kind of gets progressively worse the longer you go with them. Because these ships, especially the main towers, later on, they become extremely restrictive. There we go. So now we have 8 guns. We're going to make sure that these have slightly longer barrels. Let's say plus 12, giving me better range. I want to make sure they turn quickly. Check. They are turning 4 degrees per second, which is certainly acceptable. I'm going to push this thing slightly farther back, decreasing the size of the citadel. Whoops, sit. I can probably push that thing farther back. Whoa, not you. The whole barbette. I'm trying to keep a very close eye on whether this thing can spin. That's very important to me because it means I can make sure that these guns snap to targets very quickly. That is always something that I build for. Because one time I might be having a ship engage something over there, and then, whoops, over on the other side. What sort of tower are you sporting anyway? The Advanced 4-deck Tower 9. So that's that one. 25% long, 25 points long range accuracy. This is 47 points long range accuracy, but it's 1,300 tons heavier. Yikes. I'd love to fit that. Yeah, you know what? Why not? We're going to remove a lot from this ship. Refit time 6 months. This is going to be very expensive. There we go. Now make sure we have a funnel. And that, of course, did come at the sacrifice of getting rid of that 8-inch gun. Fortunately, I have these 8-inch guns. They are 128 tons. Arguably, maybe that's... let's say that 8-inch secondary is better. Because it can service different sides of the ship. Whereas this one is stuck just to the starboard side. Then again, if you have 3 guns here and 3 guns there, you can engage targets on both sides of the ship. So there is something to be said for either case. As for range, seeing as this is going to be a sniper at this point anyway, I might as well go full tilt. So we're going to make sure that all of these guys have long barrels. Flash fire chance is only 3%, so that's fine. They even have anti-torp 3. That is pretty serious. Should keep them in the fight for a very long time. Oh, this cannot turn. No, you can. This thing cannot fully turn. This thing can fully turn. And there you go. Okay, as for the other 700 tons, it's quite a lot. What do I want with that? I don't think it's going to be terribly easy to fit a whole other funnel in there. Yeah, like that, but you're going over displacement. These gross funnels, are they the right funnels in the first place? Because they have 40 funnel capacity for about 1,500 tons, so let's say you're looking at, what, like 44? No. 38, I think. So this would be 3,000 tons, 80 funnel cap. This would be better. If I can fit them. Which I probably cannot. But now we're at 160%. So that's progress. Regarding the secondary firepower of the ship, that leaves a bit to be desired. At the moment, I have these 8-inchers. I like them. The problem is, if something gets closer, well, we only have 2 4-inch guns. It's mostly an afterthought rather than an actual defense. So maybe it's possible to put a couple of 4-inch guns here and make sure that we get a little bit more cover from DDs. I have been ambushed by destroyers a couple of times. Didn't record those battles, but it definitely showed me that some of my battleships are a little lacking in the department of self-defense, especially that against destroyers. That's a bit much. Let's make sure that these are long barrels as well. And then put this armor, let's say 2-inch inner belts. We are okay. Superstructure armor is not okay. Conning tower is a joke. Can't do that. There we go. And I would like to have like 2 inches of superstructure because the enemy fleet might not have a lot of armor, but they sure have a lot of firepower. So that kind of scares me. As for shells, I'm very much okay with semi-armor piercing ballistic shells because this way I can easily pen their armor, especially with these 15s. And HE, capped ballistic HE shells, these things hit like a truck. They, at let's say 7.5 to 12.5 kilometer range, can pen 7 to 5.7 inches of armor. That's more than enough for what I need regarding the enemy fleet. Let's reduce the torpedo blistering a bit. Get that armor back up to snuff, because I think that's more likely to get tested than that I run into a torpedo. Okay, we're slightly heavy. There we go. Ship's balanced. We have a good amount of belt armor. We have main armor. We have 8 15-inch guns. This thing is decent, I think. I know it's not researched, but come on, I'm just converting a hull. Fine. So you're telling me I cannot refit this German ship because I don't have it researched myself? I think that's a bit sad, really. That's really unfortunate. I can't really do anything about this fairly poor ship. Given that, I'm just going to sell her off to the highest bidder. So the Prince Adalbert, that's the ship. Costing me 21 million a month. You're not cheap, are you? Is there any chance I can get to the next tier in a foreseeable future? No. Definitely not. Regarding hull strengthening, or is it... I think it's cruiser design. What are we getting? Advanced Battlecruiser 3. We need to get 5. We're so far away from the cruisers. If I prioritize cruisers, we're going to be 5 months. Fine, I'm going to sell it. I'm just going to sell it off. Back to engines, because my DDs always need to be faster. So, unfortunately, I can't exactly use this ship. Prince Adalbert is mothballed. If somebody wants to buy it, by all means. Lightly used battlecruiser up for sale. Now, the rest of the fleet's going to all come home. We need to make sure that these ships are refit, because not all of them have been getting the upgrades that they desire, such as tier 2 armor. And the rest of the ships, well, they might need to go into at least a limited state so they don't immediately soak up my whole budget. Because at the moment, I'm going to be broke in about 3 to 4 months. That's how bad the situation is. I still have, I think, a few DDs that I'm building. Yeah, they're going to be out in 6 months, but I'm going to be broke before that time. So in order to limit the amount of money that these guys are going to cost me, we're going to have to go to limited. Only available during peacetime. It is useful, and unfortunately, it is going to suffer your crew training. So if I am going to go to war again, and I hope that I will not go to war soon, I will have to get the crews trained up again. Still, I'm only at minus 91. Reduce the crew training, minus 80. Reduce the tech. And yeah, I do need to build my transports out. Ideally, the economy is going to slowly recover. And our next enemy could very well be Russia. Now, if it is Russia that we're going to fight, maybe I can take some territory. I just need my battleships there. And I'm also definitely in possession of a couple of battle cruisers. The problem is, if I take territory here, I will have to defend it. And this is yet another area where I'm going to have to put ships, which is expensive. I might also clash with the Austro-Hungarians, simply because I have ships over there. The status of the Austro-Hungarians is 105 ships, loads and loads and loads of DDs, even some old torpedo boats, and really only a couple of big ships. My navy, I think, is decent. I mean, I do have more than 2 battleships, and I do have more than battle cruisers than that, but they're not all available. So you can see I'm repairing a couple, I'm refitting a couple, so I have more. It's just that not everything is available to us at this time. Fighting Russia, I think, could be interesting, because it might open up the way to getting a whole bunch more territory. Unfortunately, it's pretty poor territory, and that territory is not exactly going to do a whole lot of favors regarding the amount of transports that I need, nor... Ah, yes, you can buy it. Denmark. Sold to the highest bidder. That's that battle cruiser of my hands. I can take territory here, 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 like basically everywhere. These ports are not that strong. They don't seem to have a fleet at all. Yeah, they got 10 ships. Okay, increase tension. Push it. They're already at war with the French. I think the French have given them a very good kicking. If I go and take territory here, it's not very wealthy territory. Like Finland, at least, not very wealthy. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, not that expensive. Central Russia, even that's poor. Defended by the Kronstadt port. I don't know, maybe we can turn Russia into parts of Spain. I think that would be amusing. Let's see how that progresses. Little provoking later, and we're at war with Russia. Cool, let's go do it. Now, the rate that Russian fleet is currently getting battered by the French, they don't really have anything. They got 8 ships. So they're easy pickings. Oh, my army, by the way, is doing a little expedition into Tripolitana for no apparent reason. I think we had a bit of a clash with the Ottomans, and, well, my army decided, yo, let's take a move. So they're trying to take Tripolitana. Not really something I can do a lot about. What I can do a lot about is send the fleet. But where? Where? If I could completely isolate Russia, I think that would be hilarious. Just force Russia to collapse. Like that $34 billion, that's it. The problem is, of course, Arkhangelsk and Murmansk together is a bit much. You can really only bombard one port at a time. So I think northern Finland, Oulu, or Oulu, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, is the next best thing. They're only 34,000 tons, they're not that big. So let's send the fleet, including the new battle cruisers, the new Hooded Horse class. That is quite a nice amount of tonnage that I can throw into the fight. That's 18,500 a pop. Send over the rest of the fleet. They'll arrive there in one turn, so that's nice. As for the rest, I do want to keep some ships back. I don't believe I have a whole lot going on. I mean, yeah, Austria-Hungary is at minus 52. Maybe I can appease them some and keep those guys at bay. Because I don't really want to have to diversify all my assets into, for example, going to war with Austria-Hungary at the same time as I'm trying to take over Russian territory. I don't believe I have a whole lot of cruisers or destroyers doing much of anything. So that's fine. These boys can go back home. There. Alright, we're now 19 million in the plus. That's good. Let's push that right back into the tech budget. Because my research is glacial. It is so slow. I would very much appreciate another destroyer. We're going to be getting destroyer 4. So let's prioritize that over the engines. Because my destroyers, I think, can do better. I think they can do better than what they currently have been doing. Oh, we're already getting a strike. Isn't that nice? Germany's scrapping their old torpedo boats. Torpedo boat is 5, torpedo boat is 3. They're even scrapping some of their DDs. Then again, their DDs are from 1905. So I'm not really surprised that they're actually scrapping these boys. The British are laying down new ships. The Russians are creating a new light cruiser. That's probably what you're seeing right here. And here's the port strike, the port of Kualu, or again, however you're supposed to pronounce that. So we're going to auto-resolve that. Boom, says the port. And yay, says the Spanish Navy. Because that means I instantly get access to the invasion of this port. And considering it's 3,000 tons, it's a walk in the, well, Finnish park. So there, northern Finland. Should be nice this time of year. As for my armor logistics, would you look at that? 100%. I would all like you to take a moment to just appreciate the fact that I have 100% armor logistics. I think I have never, at least not in recent campaigns, have 100% logistics. That's perfect. The Italians did provoke me. That's fine if they want to provoke me. On their head be it. I haven't really taken territory from the Italians. I'm considering it. But at the moment, I'm a little busy. Because we're going to take this, and it's probably going to be 3 turns. Do the Russians have any ships here? No. No. Are they all in Asia or something? I mean, they are fighting the French, so it's entirely likely that they will spawn in some really weird spot. And then start harassing the French somewhere. Are they in the Caribbean? There's always... Yep. There's always a party in the Caribbean. And the Russians were invited. Looks like they're going to have a really bad time against the French, though. Like, good lord. 1 battle cruiser, 3 heavy, 7 lights, and 11 DDs against that. Yeah, GG Russia. It's been fun. A few months later, we finally get that new destroyer hull, Destroyer 4. And I have taken over the northern part of Finland. The Russians are not pleased, but then again, they don't really have that much that they can do about it. They are, well, posturing with the DD as I'm invading the southern part of Finland as well. This one's a little bit more resilient, but, well, a couple more months, it should fall. So in the meanwhile, let's design a new destroyer. Destroyer 4. Let's see if this one will actually fit the small tower. And it does, right away. That's nice. I don't have to change the width. Isn't that convenient? They can now also go up to 1900 tons, so these things are actually getting pretty chunky. Let's make sure that they get the best gear that we can currently afford. It's going to be a pretty pricey ship at this point, but that's fine. A destroyer, most of the time, even in 1922 I think I'm at, can still relatively well punch above its own weight class. So that's exactly what I'm banking on. Because not only are my destroyers getting more expensive, the enemy ships are also getting more expensive. Battleships, battle cruisers, they're rapidly ramping up in price. And that's actually good for me. Armor-wise, let's make sure that these guys have armor so that they can take a hit. Funnel-wise, I think a big funnel should do the trick. This thing is maneuvering around 31, 32 knots. Yeah, I think that's fine. What's the hull slated for? 34.5. Okay, so we still got room. That's nice. Regarding the guns, I only still have single barrels. It's a bit unfortunate, but they are at least Mark IV, which is why they're starting to look like an actual turret. Let's make sure that they have a couple of these. I can have this thing in the back. I can have that up there, and if I move it forward, is this? Yeah. That won't spin freely, which is always what I seek. Unfortunate. Yeah, that'll not fit. Which also means that this thing probably won't want to freely spin. Yeah, okay, fine. Will it spin at all? Because that's rather important. What if I go with a different barbette? Like this one? No, says the game. I can't do that. Alternatively, I could just put one 4-inch gun on there. It's fine, we'll just go with one. The game also very much would like me to add torpedo tubes, and I'm definitely going to do that. These torpedoes can now get pretty big. 23-inch. It's a chunky torpedo. They do a lot of damage. They are also pretty detectable, and they're still slow. I could increase their speed, of course, to fast, but that means I cut my range in about half, and while the torpedo is fast, it's even more visible. So, as I think my destroyers would like to survive every encounter that they go into, let's just go with one launcher of, well, 22-inch. Not too big, but the enemy will definitely notice when they get hit. And if they're slowed down, they're easy pickings for the rest of the ships. Regarding the rest of the guns, this is a bit tricky. What do I pick? Flashfire is fine. Because I can have another single barrel 4-inch, but it's small. Like, it's very little firepower. Semi-ballistics. And capped. Yeah, that should be enough to pen destroyers. Mission profile of the ship is general. So it's there to engage other destroyers. It's there to deal with capital ships using torpedo launchers. These things spin quickly. They engage quickly with a shot every 4 seconds. When it comes to my speed... Actually, let's just dump some range. There. What do we have? 1824. Another torpedo launcher like that's 125 tons. That's a bit much. I cannot exactly add more armor to them. I mean, I can on the deck. Let's go to about 1/2 inch of deck armor. The turrets do need to get armored. I don't want to lose those. And I suppose I could turn them into 4.9s. Because that way they still have almost the same punch as a 5-inch gun, but they're Mark IV. The problem is, that's a bit heavy. So we'll have to just, I think, accept 4.4s. I could increase their barrel length just a smidge. There. So we now have a reload of 4.6 seconds, decent accuracy, and a firing range of about 8.5. For what they do, I think it's not a great design. Because if I'm looking at their predecessor, the Chiskar class, these were 24 million, they're 1,500 tons, they have 4 torpedo tubes, but they have 5.2-inch guns. They also have those double, the 3 2-inch guns is what I'm supposed to say. I think that these might be better, because they get that better tower, so the long-range accuracy is improved. Maybe that could be their saving grace. Make him a sort of sniper-esque build. So just not get a coincidence rangefinder, but a stereo. Boost their long-range efficacy even more. And then... there. 4.6-inch guns. Okay, range. No. Heavy shells can make that even slightly punchier. If you go, like, capitalistic, they can punch through about 1 inch of armor. Which, in this particular campaign, could actually work, come to think of it. Considering the very, very poorly armored ships that well, not any particular navy has. I mean, they all have pretty terrible ships. There. Come on, game. Here we go. Okay, I guess this is going to be ship for now. Until I get upgrades. This is the new DD. And of course, as is tradition, this is going to be the ultimate tiebreaker class, named after one of my channel members. The game is doing a bit weird things with the editor here. There we go. The ultimate tiebreaker. I'm not sure that's strictly what this thing is going to do. Break any ties, but at least it might prove to be another step forward in my destroyer design. We're very far away from the Gearings and Shimikazes and that level of destroyer, but at least these guys are going to bolster the fleet, replacing some of the very old destroyers that I still have sailing around. Looks like we're a bit on a conquering spree, because Tripolitana from the Ottomans has been conquered, and, by the looks of it, southern Finland has also been conquered. So without really firing a shot from the Navy, we've taken over a bit of territory all the way up north. What are we going to do with this? I don't know. Spark with Germany, probably, because they're all in the Baltic. I hope my relationship with the Germans isn't going to completely collapse now. We're decent right now. If it comes to blows with the Germans... Wait, they got... What? What? They have 16 heavies, 33 lights, and 51 DDs. Let's go to war with Germany. No, I'm actually prepping sort of a war with the Brits, because the Brits are doing really badly. I'm not sure, but my suspicion is that they don't have any transport ships left, so their economy is crashing. Their army logistics is down to 70%, which is unusual for the AI. They do have a sizable navy, to be sure, but they also have a lot of territories, 73. So they got a lot of territory to defend. My army logi is still at 100 at 22 provinces. I'm almost maxing out my transport fleet, so I can just kind of, well, save a little bit on that. You cannot go over 200%, which is nice. So I'm almost there. I think the next order of business should be Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, but these things are just me clicking through and through and through, so I'm not going to bother with that. Next episode, you'll see what the situation is then. Hope you guys enjoyed this, let's say, intermezzo episode. Not interbellum, because we're definitely in a bellum. We're at war with the Russians. Unfortunately for them, might be their last. Thank you for watching the episode. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more.